Hey everybody. Well, there's nobody. It's just me. So, hi Carrie. Hi Carrie. You could be looking a little better. Your hair is a little nutty today. Oh, now there's two people. Hello, two people, whoever you are. Thanks for joining me. Let's see, shall I guess? Marilyn Beauvais and Gina DeBona Carter. That's my guess. As to the first two people who are here. Oh, now there's four people. All right. Well, I'm going to give up guessing. So, hi everybody. Five of you now. Hi. Hi folks. This is a pretty picture that we're going to paint, isn't it? This was a beautiful day. My friend Carol Bainey and I went looking for a sunset, and she was here visiting from Pennsylvania. This was back when we could visit. Hi, Julie Terry Cartner. You know, big goings on at your sister's house, right? The camper at the pop-up is popped up. Hi, Marilyn. The pop-up is popped up, and the grandchildren are here, I think. So yes, so this painting, this picture, I am not sure where we were. I know that the water there is the Chesapeake Bay, and the sunset was gorgeous, and we were trying to find a place just like that, and we were somewhere, I don't know. I just don't remember where we were. I think if I go to my photo program, it'll tell me. Hi, Carol Ann. Hi, Vicky. Hi, everybody. And those of you who know me and know my family, my dad's been really sick. He is in the hospital. He had and I guess still has pneumonia that was apparently was aspirated pneumonia or aspiration pneumonia, where I guess you get it from swallowing wrong or breathing stuff in. And one of the days this week I thought he would be dead by the time I woke up, but he made another miraculous recovery. Dad is 92. And now he's just really hoping to get out of the hospital. He's apparently very depressed. I can't talk to him because he can't talk. And nobody can visit. He's in Arizona, so I can't visit anyways, but nobody can visit. So I thought about a telegram. If any of you have any other ideas how I could, send him, give him something fun and uplifting, let me know. Hi, Christine. Oh, it's good to see all you people, just even though I'm not seeing you, but thanks for being here. So, okay, so the reason that I chose this picture, I've wanted to paint this for a few months. As I said, my friend Carol, I took this when my friend Carol Bainey was here from Pennsylvania, back when people could visit. And we were over on the Chesapeake Bay, driving around looking for sunsets, and we found this. And if you've downloaded it onto your computer, you know it's actually brighter than what we're seeing here. But I love it because of the colors, and especially these. That's a track in, like if you had a big Jeep or something, you could drive in with it. So I love the colors, which we're going to pump up in this. I love the puddles and the trees and the little bit of Chesapeake Bay that you see. So here are my colors. These are my regular colors. I'm on a gray. I have a new disposable palette, and it's gray, so that's why they maybe look a little different. So I've got ultramarine, two turquoises, a cobalt violet, a violet gray, red, and alizarin crimson, which we probably won't use, although who knows. Sap green, some bright greens, which we won't use. I was doing something earlier involving all of this. This wonderful color is transparent orange oxide, which we will be using. A couple lighter browns, which we probably won't use. Then over here I've got my brights on this side: cadmium yellow, lemon yellow, brilliant yellow, a bright pink, and some oranges down here. Again, these are there mostly for the painting I was doing, which was sunflowers in a mason jar. So what you want to have if you're using colors. Hi, Jean Beauvais here. Yes, Christine, if we could all send a get well card, I'll tell you what, if I can find out what room he's in, I'll post it. Um, I don't know how long he's going to be in the hospital or when he's going to go home, but maybe they would send it home to him, or maybe it could just be at home waiting for him. This is where I keep getting stuck. So, okay. So at any rate, if you're a person who prays, please say a little prayer for Dad, and also a little prayer of gratitude that he didn't actually die on Wednesday night. That he's up and talking and wanting to go home. So, okay. Um, so here we go. Everybody see that? I guess that's about as good as it's going to get. So, I have my regular knives. This one, my bigger favorite one. Very flexible. Can get pretty much paint on with that. And then my trusted old friend, also very flexible. And so I'm gonna start by kind of sketching in, just getting that water line in. So I'm taking a little bit of blue, and it's a pretty dark. Bodies of water have very different colors. They're not all the same color. And this is a very sort of dark greenish blue. And I'm gonna, okay, yeah, I guess I'll take it down there about where the picture is. So here's going to be the horizon line, and here's going to be the water, and then there's going to be the horizon line. There's a little island over there that we're gonna forget about. So I say let's start with the sky. I just want to remind myself about the water here. Those of you who know me know what a bad memory I have, and yeah, okay. So why don't we start with the sky, and then we can more easily put the trees in on top of it. So I'm gonna take some orange and a little bit of pink. This pink, this is this. Is this it? No, that's a different pink. I'll take some of that too. This pink is Rouge Lumiere by PBO. And it's a nice paint, great color. Pretty fast drying, which, you know, some days is good, some days is not good. But the darker pink, that is a rose vivid rose, also by PBO. These are pretty cheap paints, but the colors are good and they stay nice and bright, and I like them. So I'm going to mix a little bit of pink and a little bit of orange and take my knife, and off we go. That's probably a little bit darker than I want it, but I will go back and lighten it up. Let's get it on there first. So this time I'm gonna mix a little bit of white in with it, and with my orange and my pink. I'm gonna go over that. If you have a brush, use a big brush. If you've got a knife, use a big knife. And I'm going to start. You can do the sky in all sorts of different ways. You can do it nice and smooth. This picture kind of lends itself to nice and smooth, but I want to show you some. So if you wanted to, you could do it all the way across like we just did those. That bottom sunset line. Or you can do a more active sky, which is a little bit of my fallback. Am I bringing the orange up higher than it really was that night? Yep. Yep. If I wanted a photograph, I just use the photograph. And my regular disclaimer here. I am really self-taught. So I'm not telling you that this is how you should paint. And I'm not telling you that this is the right way to paint. I'm just letting you know that this is how I paint. And what I hope you will do is don't be frustrated if your paintings don't look exactly like my paintings. What I really want is for your paintings to look like your paintings and for you to love them. Okay, I'm gonna move into some more yellow. So I've mixed some yellow in. Carol Ann will, hi Marcia, taking a break from painting your kitchen, good. Carol Ann Wool says she once sent a floral arrangement in a pickup truck vase with the message, "I love you so trucking much." Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I can definitely send flowers. Thank you. Yeah, deserty. That's a great idea. And I will post Dad's address. I can post his P.O. box number right now, but if I find out his hospital address, I'll do that too. So, okay, so we're putting a little bit of yellow in here. You know, you want to make the sky quieter, go ahead. And then we're going to work up into some blue. Now, if you're using a disposable palette, don't just wipe your palette knife off. And if you have extra on your brush, put it up here somewhere, because we're going to come back and use these same colors later. So now the blue green that I mixed for the bay, I'm going to put some white into that and make some blue. Got a nice, got a nice skyish blue. And this, we can do some blending later. Ooh, isn't that pretty? That's one of those happy accidents. So I'm going to try hard not to go over that, because I like that so much. Try to remember not to go over it later. Hi, Gina. Okay. And you could darken it up at the what is it? It's not the horizon. It's up at, you know, the universe, whatever it is, at the heavens. Could make that blue darker if you want. You could make this whole thing very gradual if you wanted to go across, you know. You can really smooth it out. And you can smooth it out with a brush too, or yeah. So up near the top, I'm gonna do some more ultramarine. Different tone of blue, warmer blue, I think. Just echoing the picture a little bit. How'd your oil paintings come out last week? I saw some of them online. And geez, I'm not sure I posted mine. And where is it? I went back and did a couple little things to it. I'll be sure to post it after this. Okay. I'm going to do some more turquoise and kind of blend those two in. Skies are usually kind of my favorite, and I often save them till the end as kind of like the dessert to the paintings. Hi, Nita. But this sky, because of the trees in front, I really want us to do this sky first. And here it's starting to blend in some of my, ooh, that was pretty. Got a little bit of orange on there. I'm gonna leave that. I wanted to, before I forget, I was doing a floral. That's why I have all those yellows and oranges and pinks. Although actually I usually always have them. But I was painting a arrangement, and I had a question about water and stems and backgrounds. And there's a painter named Trisha Adams, Trisha Adams, and I think she's from Virginia, which I hadn't realized before. And I get her newsletter, which is always delightful. And but I went and like really took a deep dive into her paintings on her website. Oh my God, they are so amazing. I hope you will all go look as painters what this woman does with color and light and stroke. It's astonishing, really. So please take a look. I don't know her, but I'd like to. I love her work. Love it. I loved it before, but I spent about an hour or so just going over it and really looking and seeing, trying to understand what she was doing and how does the light bend, and what are some ways to approach that. And I wasn't copying from her. I was learning from her. And, that's what I hope you all feel you're doing here. Okay. So now I'm going to take a little bit of white and kind of start smearing the one bit of sky into the other. This is not scientific. It doesn't always work, but you can always rescue it. And just kind of, pay attention to what you're doing. Have a light hand. If somebody came and pulled this knife out from me, they would get it. I do not have a death grip on this thing. In fact, I would much rather hear that you kept dropping your knife than that you were grabbing onto it. Okay. And the final sky bit we're going to do, and is this too lurid? I don't know. Well, I'm not sure that there's too lurid in my book, but that's me. You all might want a more subtle approach, and you can do that. Lighten it up, mix in with a little bit more light yellow, mix in with a little bit more white, make your strokes less vibrant. You can quiet it down any way that you want. There are many ways to quiet it down. So, okay, then we've got those beautiful purple clouds. So let's put them in too. I'm taking pretty much straight. I'm mixing it with a little bit of white. Violet gray. You can get to violet gray by just taking cobalt violet and mixing it with white. But here is violet gray, Georgian, and here it is. It's really a good color. There we go. Nita says she has seen Trisha Adams' work and she agrees. Gina, thanks for the prayers for Dad. Okay, so I've loaded my knife up, and clouds are clouds. All right, so that's a little too purple. Dad actually once said to me, there's no such thing as the sky police. There's nobody who's going to come along and say, that sky didn't look like that. Those clouds didn't look like that. Too purple? Put in a little bit more white. There is a complicated anatomy of clouds that you can learn about. Depending on, you know, where the light hits them, and warm light and cool light, and I just paint clouds. Okay, so here we are at 119, and the skies are pretty much done. Now, I could fill in all these little black holes, but you know what? At least right now, I kind of like them. So I am going to leave them for now. Might go in and fill them out back later. There's lots of things that you can, you know, do and then undo on a painting. You can't fill in a hole and then undo it. I mean, you can, but not easily. And that's whether you're using a white canvas or a black canvas. And speaking of whites, get good whites. As the Boar's Head people say, compromise elsewhere. I use cheap paint. I use a lot of cheap paint. I use medium grade paint. And I look for sales, but I use good whites. And this is one, Lucas 1862. It's about 22 bucks a tube or more. Might be 27. This and Permalba. I have a tube of that somewhere, but it's spelled exactly like it sounds. Permalba. These two whites yellow less than any other whites on the market. And you can look up, there's a 5-year white study that some guy did that shows, it shows all the sort of top available whites and how they age over time. Terry Hoover, do I always use a light grip on my palette knife, or do I ever need to use a death grip? I find myself using the death grip, but a light grip is pretty much always better. The only time I really, if I really have to make a straight line, which happens very rarely, I think it's, you know, I hold it tighter then. Marcia wants to know, is there a reason the blue part of the sky fans upward and out as opposed to the orange? Not really. I was showing people a couple strokes, pretty much, and I was showing them the flat across, and I don't mind it like that. So you can make the whole thing, you know, going across. You can make the whole thing of long horizontal strokes. You can make the whole thing going up like that. You can make it like this, sort of patchwork. I did skies like that for a long time, and I kind of love it. So you can go in all those directions like that. I kind of, this sort of gives me the feeling of the bowl of the sky, and it adds some drama. So that's the reason for that. So, okay. So everybody look away from your painting for a minute. Stretch your shoulders. Shake out your fingers, your death grip fingers. And let's start painting some land. Actually, let's paint some water first. So we've got some, I'm using a little turquoise. You can use whatever blue you want. I would put a little bit of green in because the Chesapeake Bay has some green in it. If you have a indigo, it's a nice indigo in this picture. Okay, maybe I'll put a little bit of white in there. That's a little bit too much. So you make your sky as ever you want it. And everything else in your paintings. And that water is a little bit lighter toward the front. And it does go over here, so, okay. Got your water on there. That water is not the main drift here. Now, there's some, I love the black canvas. I love the pop it gives to my colors. I like when it shows through as black. When you're working in something that is this dark, it makes some problems. So I'm going to go a little bit lighter on my field there, my field sort of silhouette. If you're using a white canvas, you want to go pretty dark. I want there to be there's some texture in it, at least, except for down here. There's some texture, but there's a little tiny little bit of definition, but not much. So I'm going to, Terry Hoover, you're very welcome. And believe me, I have to remind myself over and over not to grip it like this. See how my fingers are turning white, but to hold it like this. And I do drop them a lot. And I'm always sort of pleased with myself when I drop them. So, okay, so I am mixing some sap green and some of that brown, the dark brown, and I'm going to mix a little bit of ochre. A little bit more ochre. So I've got something that looks like this. That looks pretty dark there. I'm going to put a little bit more ochre. All right, so on my palette, it's this green thing with the ochre in it. And I'm going to start, actually what I'm going to do first, and I encourage you to do, is kind of get the line of your puddle in. So a tip for you brush people or knife people: water is flat. The surface of water is always flat. So how to explain this? So when I'm painting water, or when I'm painting the banks that will take water, that will eventually be the edge of the water, I keep my knife parallel to the ground. That way it makes the correct edges. Have you ever seen, and I don't, believe me, I don't get this right all the time. In fact, in one of these workshop paintings, Julie Terry Cartner has this painting because her daughter gave it to her for Christmas. It was a Marsh painting, and the whole Marsh is a little tipped. Not enough so that I went back and fixed it, because I kind of liked it. Some artists make all kinds of tipping round horizons and, water that couldn't possibly be as it is. When it's possible for me to make water look like water, I like to do that. So you probably really can't see this because it's so dark. So I'm taking my knife, and you can do the same thing with a brush, and I'm holding it parallel to the ground and moving it along. There we go. Moving it along to make the edge of the bank. So one of them is going to come all the way to the end of the canvas, and one is going to have just a little stream coming in there like that. Okay. Then I'm going to start. It's not dark enough. It's a balance. It's an interesting balance that you have to ride here between so dark that you can't see it and light enough that it doesn't look like a silhouette, because that's what we're really painting here. So there are some things you can do with color to suggest shadow that actually isn't shadow. So one color that I like a lot for shadow is purple. And this violet gray, or gray violet, which is, again, you can just get by mixing cobalt violet with white. But purple is a good shadow color, and this this violet gray seems to me to suggest shadow. I think that we as painters develop a language like with our strokes, with our paints, which are with the decisions that we make. And I think that the people who like our paintings speak that language and understand, they understand our language. People know that, you know, that this on a painting of mine represents clouds. They know that my little houses without windows or doors or porches, they know that they represent houses, safe, secure houses. And the way I paint water, my fans, my fan club, my buyers, my people, my community understands that the strokes that I make are shortcuts, they're notations, they're my comprehension of water, they're my voice for water, or sky or clouds or houses or whatever, and they get it. And so my voice, as in writing and as in speaking and anything else, it's not going to be your voice. And you know, you can use my voice, and this is why I do these workshops, to encourage people to, you know, use my voice to help you find your own. Use my strokes until you go, oh, well, that's the color I want to use for that. Or, oh, that's the way I do water. That's the way I see water. And, you know, you'll see it on your own. You'll hear your own voice, which for you is going to be way better than my voice. Okay, so look, that's fun. I just dragged some of the sunset into the marshy stuff. That's fun. So I'm continuing to build a sort of darkish, maybe dark enough, maybe not dark enough. I don't know. It's hard to tell until it's all done. Now in the center, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big lump of stuff right in the center. I'm going to make that a little bit lighter. I mean, a big lump of stuff. That's technical painter jargon. It's a hummock of reeds in the center there. Okay. I'm gonna make that a little bit lighter because that's a focal point, and I might darken that in a while. I don't know. Another color that you can use, surprisingly, to a good dark advantage is alizarin crimson. So here's some alizarin crimson mixed with some sap green. I know it just looks like mud, doesn't it? But that alizarin crimson is a surprisingly dark color. I've been experimenting and trying to learn for the past year or so how to choose colors, not so much for what colors they are as for the work that they can do for me. So, you know, blue, ultramarine. Okay. Guess what? This field was not really blue. Let's see. Here's some turquoise. Let's see. Ooh, that's kind of nice. My favorite dark combination, and I might go back in and do it, but it's too dark for you all to see here, but it's cobalt violet mixed with, okay, so look, there, cobalt violet mixed with turquoise. Isn't that pretty? Can you see how, no, you can't. Well, but do it on your own palette and you'll see it gives you just a beautiful, rich, shadowy, and then you can put some ultramarine in. I got too much. but it gives you a brilliant, deep, lively, pretty shadow. And for instance, people who have my paintings know that that color combination means shadow for me. Is it really blue? No. No. So here I'm just putting little grassy little strokes. And should we have done the water first? Maybe. I guess we'll see. I told you I've decided not to do these paintings first. Last year I did every painting that we did, I tried first to find out where the pitfalls are. And among other things, then I kept having two paintings of the same scene, which I found annoying. And buyers didn't know what to make of that. And I believe that I think that in discovery is energy. And energy is attractive to people. Anne Hudson just got her tube of alizarin crimson. Excellent. And Anne, you're using watercolors, I think. Is that right? Diana Davis, who has been painting in watercolors with a palette knife, is teaching a class at the Norfolk Botanical Gardens today, so she's not with us. Oh. But any of you watercolorists who want to have an adventure, woo, try it with a palette knife. Okay, now, in the original painting, the original picture, the colors of these, actually, I don't know about in the original picture, but in the original day, the colors in the puddles were reflecting the sky colors a little bit more than they are in the picture. So I am going to put a little bit of orange in with my white and start. Okay, here is an instance where you really want your knife or your brush to be clean. So take a stroke, maybe two, then clean it off. And with these strokes, I want you to go down towards the bottom of the canvas. Put some white in. We're going to go back, and these are going to get, we're going to put those grass reflections in, but for now, don't put them in. For now, try to do this neatly, cleanly. So don't pick up the edge, those edges yet, like I did there. I'm going to scrape that off. So you are, okay, and here, that was Terry. Carol, well, you don't mind two paintings of the same scene as long as it's the Marsh and Chesapeake. Okay, so Terry Hoover, here is an instance where you really want to hold this thing lightly, because when you are putting paint over other paint and you don't want to pick up the underlying paint, you want the top paint to glide on like it was on what do you call those things? The little balls, ball bearings. There's another word for them, but you know, like it was like you had ball bearings there. So, and that was how the top paint was getting over the lower paint. Ball bearings. You can help yourself doing this if you want to by using medium. I used to use medium a lot, and one day I didn't have any, and so I stopped doing it. I stopped using it for a painting, and I found I didn't need it. But medium will help you put paint over paint without picking it up. There's a in oil paint, you work fat over lean. So you start with, if you're going to be using medium, you start with no medium and then a little bit and then more and more and more. So fat over lean. I don't know if that's the same thing as with acrylics. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more on here. Myself a little bit of pink. If you don't know if you've picked up paint, turn your brush or your knife over and look at it. I have a little bit on there, and I don't want it. So, okay, and then the other one. Now there's a tiny little trail leading in to the other one, and I'm just using the very edge of my knife to outline that. And look, see, messy? I don't want that. I mean, messy I don't mind, but I don't want to be dragging color in that I'm not planning on. I love dragging color around wet on wet, just not yet. Not here, not now. But I'm doing it. Ah! So if you do it, go back over it. Go lightly. Go lightly. Okay. Now I want you to go back and pull lightly with your brush or your knife. Pull those edges down into your water, not all the way. These are the reflections of the reeds that you're painting in there. And on the other side, we are going to do something later, but not at this moment. Okay, and then again, so your reflections are on the left side of your two streams, which is the south side, because this Chesapeake Bay, the eastern shore is a narrow, it's actually an island, or is it an isthmus? I thought it was a peninsula, but Peter, when he was alive, pointed out to me that it's not, because you have to cross water anyway to get onto it. So it's 10 miles wide at its widest, and on one side of it is the Chesapeake Bay, which we're painting, and then on the other side of it, which is where I live, is the Atlantic Ocean. And both sides, by and large, are lined by marshes, except for in a few places. Cape Charles, which is at the very southern tip of the eastern shore, has no marsh, has a beautiful beach. And then Chincoteague and Assateague, which is north of us, has a beautiful beach. The eastern shore is one of the few remaining undeveloped stretches of the Atlantic seaboard, and the only one, I think, the only undeveloped stretch of the eastern seaboard, the southern part of the Atlantic seaboard. So, and mostly that's because of the marshes. So I do a lot of marsh paintings, and there are a lot of marsh painters here, and many of them paint the same stuff all the time. Okay, so now, where are we? 143? Good. Let's put some trees in. The trees are also in silhouette. We've got lovely background stuff. Our background's already in. So take a dark color, and remember we talked about trees last week, where you can do this. You can take your knife or your brush and moving up, twist it, let it replicate the crazy contortions and twists of nature. Nothing in nature is a straight line. If anybody ever says to you, oh, I can't draw a straight line, say, well, you don't need to draw a straight line. And you don't. You almost never need to draw a straight line. I'm going to space them out a little bit. Or you can do the Cynthia Rosen kind of tree. A tree of excitement and no turns. Or you can do both. So get your trunks on there. You can do it going down, but Jean Beauvais told me it's better if you do your turning, twisting stuff going up. Jean Beauvais was my one painting teacher. And then take some dark color that you like and love, or some mixture of colors, and put some foliage on. Don't go painting every single separate leaf. Can I put one more than that? Here's another, you want to be delicate in your touch. Now, that needs to be way darker, but we all don't need to sit here and watch me make these darker. But, you know, if yours aren't dark enough to look like silhouettes, make them look like silhouettes. And even though they are, I would encourage you to try. Is this going to work or not? I don't know. But putting a bright edge, yes. Put a bright edge on them. Because even though they're in silhouette, the sun is coming, the sun will be picking up some of the edges, and it's going to make a better painting. And then give yourself some roughness on the horizon. Not dark enough, make it darker. All right, and then let's go over here. We've got some little stuff there. There's a nice one there. Nice curve of a tree, which I like a lot. Should I make two of them? And I've said this before in this workshop, but I'll say it again. Don't ever put anything in a painting that you're not willing to go back and put a light side on and a dark side on. It doesn't mean that you will on every single everything, but you probably will. So if you're going to make a field and put 100 daffodils in it, you better be ready to put a light side and a dark side of every single daffodil, or find a way to imply that every single daffodil has a bright edge and a dark edge. And there are ways to do that. Okay. And you can make these trees as complicated as you like. I'm going to put some foliage on these, even if they don't have it. I don't really care if they don't have it. Maybe I'll leave a couple of them with the little branches, and I will go back and put more little branches and more foliage stuff on. Let's see what yellow would be. Oh, look at yellow as a bright. Oh yeah, I like that. So over there where I put the white, doesn't it look dull by comparison? So let's go over here and put in some, and then try some other colors. Here's pink. It's a bright pink. That's not so good. So far I'm liking the yellow better. This changes every painting. Orange for me is one of my real go-to highlight colors, but of course it's not going to work here because we've got an orange background. Okay, now pull down your reeds in that puddle. I don't think we did that yet. I'm going to make this puddle a little bit wider. And these reeds in the front, I'm going to give them just a little bit more light. Okay. Then take your knife or your brush and carefully start going like this, sideways, across your puddle there. Now, do we need some blue in that? Maybe. To make it understandable as water, we need some blue. Okay, so there really isn't blue in the picture. And this is an instance where I think adding blue is going to help make it understandable as water. Now, you can go back and forth like that. You can pick your knife up. I want to make this a little bit more closed in here. That's better. And then same thing here. And I will do a little bit of blue here also, just to give the idea. Now, these water things, if you get this wrong, you can go back and fix this. Just scrape it off, and you might have to give it a minute or two to, or a half an hour to set up. Okay, but you can scrape it off and do it as many times as you need to do it. Okay, then put some grass in. With a brush or a knife, doesn't matter. And then over here, give yourself some globs of paint to fool with, and put some turquoise in there. And then take your knife or your brush and give yourself some grassy reeds. So use the tip of your, use the tip of your knife. I need a little bit of contrasting color to make this work here, so to make it more visible. So I'm going to just stick some paint on. And now I'm going to take my knife. Okay. Go up and down like that. Now where you have the dark shadow and the lighter reeds, take a little bit of white and put a little bit of white to separate the reflection from the grass. That is way too light. I'll go back and take that down. There's some more grass, very dark. Very dark. Okay, there's a lot more that you can do to this painting, and probably I will, but for now, I'm going to make that a little bit lighter. You can make these $153. Make these You want to put some of the brushy silhouette stuff in over here. I guess we probably should have done that first. A smarter person would have done that first. I am going to put a little sky hole in that tree because that got closed. All right, so the paint that I saved up before, here it is. And I'm going to put a little sky hole in here. Another one. It still looks like a palm tree, which it shouldn't be, but that's all right. I'll leave it. Put some darker foliage. Oh yeah, we're getting there. And then down in that low corner, what are we going to do down here? Bigger strokes. It does help, at least for me, to have bigger strokes at the front of the painting and smaller strokes at the back. To me, it gives some perspective. How's everybody doing here? I think you're probably all very busy painting, which is why there's no comments or questions. I'm not crazy with the lack of color in the middle part of this. So what can I do about that? I'm going to try putting a little bit. Oh yeah, this is what we need. Right? I mean, it can all be in silhouette, but the sunset is touching, or we're just going to say it is, the tips of some of the grasses. Yeah. Back here. This is a golden ochre that I'm using. And in the front, I've let it mix with a little white and pink from the sky. And I'm also going to use that on some of my foliage blobs. I remember asking, I probably said this last week too, but it sticks in my mind and it's great advice. And it might even have been Jean Beauvais who told me. I remember asking somebody how they painted. It actually wasn't Jean Beauvais. Who was it? It was a woman. She was in the Wallkill River School. Oh, and she makes beautiful trees. And she does an interesting thing with her trees. She takes her, I don't want to put it on there because it's all different, but she takes her tree and goes like this, and then she wraps her trunk around it like that, and then she wraps it around like that and like that. So she gets this cool wrapped trunk tree. I mean, I'm just doing it on a piece of paper here, so it's not great, but what is her name? She lives in Carrie. Wow, it's all gone. I have such a bad memory. Oh, but I loved her trees. And I asked her, how do you make such wonderful trees? And she said, well, make 10,000 of them. So, okay. So you'll develop your own trees. And you know what? They're likely to be different than mine, and different than hers, and different than Cynthia Rosen-Malter's, and I don't know Trisha Adams' trees, but I'll have to take a look at them. I know she does a lot of plein air painting. I'll put some of these beautiful lights, highlights on these. So here's where you go, I mean, really, everybody, like in a way, this is where the painting is. Because here's where you start going from the slavish representation of the photograph to a painting. And that's when you look at it and think, okay, well, I'm partway there, but what else? How can I make myself happier with this painting? Or this is what I think. How can I make myself happier with this painting? How can I make this painting feel more like what I felt like when Carol and I came around that corner and went, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So I hope that's what you all do, and that you recognize when you're slipping from copying a scene to making a painting. They're not the same thing. Or well, for me, they're not the same thing. Marcia, thank you. Thank you so much. Marcia says she loves the painting you made a dark setting look vivid. Thanks. It was vivid. So, some things I'm not crazy about are how straight that is. That side of that. So, probably bring the shadows down a little bit more there. And I'll probably fiddle around with the trees a little. Might try a little bit of red. Now this is not alizarin crimson, but red. Let's see what happens if I put a little bit of red on there. Ooh, that's not bad. Ooh, I like that. So, you know, fiddle around with yours, but don't fiddle to the point of sucking the life out of it. So right now I am very close to the first place where I could stop and be happy with this painting. So I will. Also, our time is up. but also, this is where I would stop. I might come back and do more, but for now, I'm going to stop here. So, please post your paintings somewhere on here if you want to. There we are. Or wherever. And call me or email me or message me or get in touch with me if I can help you. And I probably will not do a workshop next week. Probably take a week off, but do a workshop the following week. And if that changes, if I decide to do a workshop next week, I'll let you all know. Thank you for spending some time with me and thinking good thoughts about my dad. And if I can get a place where we can send him cards, I will post that. What else? Okay. Happy painting, everybody. Bye.